Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We go behind the scenes to see how blood sausage is made, as well as an insight into the special techniques used in producing this special sausage. What's the most unusual meal you've ever heard of? If you go to East Asia, there's a delicacy called balut, sold as street food. This meal is basically a fertilized and developing egg that is steamed and eaten out of the shell. That's extremely odd. Now, it may be delicious, but it's an odd meal nonetheless, and there are others like it around the world. In Britain, there's a popular breakfast delicacy that is made using pig blood, called blood sausage or black pudding. This odd delight is popular in Britain and other parts of Europe, South America, and South Africa. But before you get grossed out by the thought of blood being an ingredient in an actual meal, remember that blood has a lot of health benefits. It's rich in nutrients like iron and proteins, which your body needs to produce more healthy blood cells of its own. So no matter the quantity you put inside a meal, the presence of blood makes it richer than it actually is. The origin of the blood sausage recipe is debatable. However, its popularity has spread worldwide, and it's known by different names in different regions. In Britain, it's simply called blood sausage. In South Africa, it's called black pudding. In Spain, it's called morcilla, and its names in other European languages are a bit more technical to pronounce. All across the world, its method of preparation is the same, and the staple ingredients include pork rind, which is the skin of a pig, pig blood, pig fat, and pig meat, which is optional. For the seasonings, those commonly used are onions, parsley, brown bay leaves, curry, thyme, ginger, garlic, and other seasonings. Preferably those with strong flavors to mask the smell and taste of the blood. For ease and to move as fast as possible, it is advisable to start by preparing all the spices. They are chopped up finely or ground up into powder using a grater, mortar, and pestle or whatever is appropriate, depending on the seasoning being worked on. After that, the spices and seasonings are set aside in a bowl and kept for future use. Next, the pork rind is cut into small strips and set aside. These are cut as thinly as possible to ensure that they fit in the sausage casing when the time comes. A sharp knife is recommended for this step because the pork rind is tough and harder to cut than regular meat. Next, the rind strips are placed in a pot and left to boil in water for an hour. Even this is not enough to make the rind mushy, but it makes it soft enough to let a fork pass through the strips. While the rind is cooking, it's time to work on other ingredients, specifically the pork meat and fat. The pork fat is mostly gotten from the back of the pig and cut into small cubes. The fat will not be ground, instead, the cubes will be put into the pudding in the final steps. So the way the fat cubes are cut will determine how they appear in the blood sausage when it's done. The fat cubes are washed, placed in a pot, and boiled in water for about 25 minutes. The pork meat is cut, washed, and added to the boiling fat 10 minutes before it's done. This is because pork meat is generally more tender than regular beef, so they're more prone to being overcooked. If the pork meat is overcooked, the sausage's texture will be affected badly. After the rind, fat, and meat are done boiling, they are sieved out of the water and allowed to drain for a few minutes. Next, the rind and meat are placed in a food processor and blended until a paste is formed. Because the rind and meat have different textures, the resulting paste will not be consistent. And from this point, the preparation process speeds up because the rind will solidify if exposed to the air for too long. Now, it's time for the gross part of this recipe, which is mixing the blood. The pig blood used to make blood sausage can be bought from an abattoir, or blood powder can be used instead. The powder is just mixed in water or milk, and in no time, it'll look exactly like fresh pig blood. The same color, thickness, everything. Whatever the choice, the blood used has to be fresh and free from clumps of any sort. Next, the mixture is placed in a plastic container and poached in water of about 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. Care is taken not to warm the blood in simmering or boiling water, just a temperature slightly above room temperature. Otherwise, the blood will curdle and solidify, resulting in a hard sausage. While the blood is getting warmed up, the spices and seasonings prepared in the beginning are mixed with water and stirred until all the seasonings have been dispersed evenly across the water. Next, the warmed blood is removed from the warm water and the seasoning mixture is added. The slurry formed is mixed repeatedly. However, the goal is not to make the mixture smooth, but to disperse the spices and seasonings evenly. The slurry formed is thick rather than watery. Therefore, it's firm enough to fit into the casings and form the typical sausage shape. Finally, the boiled fat cubes are added to the slurry and mixed again before being stuffed into the cylindrical sausages. The shaping is done with the use of a casing. Casings come in the shape of sausages, and once they are stuffed with the sausage filling, the filling takes on the shape of the casings and becomes sausages. There are two types of casings, the natural casing and the artificial casing, which is made using cellulose. Cellulose casings are the most popularly used kinds, not only for blood sausages but also by other popular sausage production brands. Apart from the cellulose casings, the other option is a natural casing that remains on the hot dog even when it's being eaten. This casing is more expensive and used mainly by small-scale hot dog production brands. Since cellulose casings cannot be ingested, they are removed from the sausage after it's been cooked. Typically, the blood sausages with their casings are rolled, packaged, and sent out from their places of production to retail stores, where they are sold and purchased by people who have an interest in this odd delicacy. Regular sausages are smoked before being sold so they can be eaten with or without additional cooking after buying them. However, that's not the case with blood sausages because they haven't undergone any additional cooking. After buying the blood sausages, how you choose to cook them is up to you. You can smoke it over burning wood for a couple of hours, you could fry it, grill it, boil it, or just add it to stew. Whatever floats your boat. Regardless of how you cook them, they taste different from regular sausages. They are softer but still chewy and look darker than regular pink sausages because of their blood content. In some recipes, there's more blood than meat, so it comes out more cakey than chewy, but even in these cases, the sausage still comes out moist and solid because unlike cow blood, which flakes up after drying, pig blood remains firm and moist. This is one of the most important reasons why pig blood is the preferred choice for the blood sausage recipe. Also, pig blood acts as an excellent binder, even better than eggs or all the other ones we are familiar with. It helps hold the meat together and makes it easy to retain its shape when stuffed in the casings. Have you ever eaten a blood sausage? Or would you be willing to try one? Leave your answer in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for new videos.